Well, hello there. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to where it is in the world. You are streaming here on Twitter as well as YouTube as well. I think we got those credentials fixed. What's happening, people? Monday edition of Live Q&A with Wob, presented by our friends at ProfitX. Getting ready for a busy slate in the association this evening, 9 games, but it's not all we're I imagine the stream will go somewhere else at some point, allow you the opportunity to come in here and ask whatever is on your mind. Monday, December 1st, pitch black today at 4:30-ish p.m. Eastern time. So the winter solstice inbound. Okay, sorry, shit just takes forever sometimes. Talk to me, people, if you're just joining the stream, and if you're relatively new, there is an option at the bottom that says say something. Say something if you want any questions, if you want to check in and say what's up. We run these streams every Monday, Wednesday, Friday around 3:15 p.m. Pacific time, 6:15 East Coast. What's up, YB Dollar? People starting to join the stream. Start to see you guys popping in. Hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. No audio issues this time would be certainly preferred, but who knows? Let's see if I sound staticky. Okay. No static so far. That's good. All right. What's happening, people? Talk to me. Notifications just going out. It takes a minute or two. With Twitter's new, or X, whatever the hell, it takes some push notifications are delayed by like a minute. A full minute. That's a long time if you're in like breaking news or something. Or for example, when you cover the NBA and you have lineup news coming in and out rapidly. A minute can make all the difference in the world, as these lines will change almost instantaneously. Some shops you can get like 10 to 15 seconds of taking advantage of that news, and that's what we attempt to do here on Live Q&A with Bob. If anything big comes in, just know we will be jumping on it. A couple decent games on the slate tonight. The Hawks and the Pistons is probably the best of the early games. They got Peacock, Bulls, and Magic. Amazing jersey matchup tonight, by the way. It's not the Reds versus the white pinstripes, but it is the new version of the white pinstripes against the alternate road blacks. Takes me back to 1995. That is a gorgeous jersey matchup. 9.3 out of 10 right here. Bulls Magic tonight. So enjoy that one. The basketball may not always deliver, but if the aesthetics, I'm willing to watch a bad basketball game if they are properly dressed. Did you guys ever see that movie, The Patriot, with Mel Gibson? If I'm going to die, the French guy walks out of the tent. If I die, I will die well dressed. Preach. All right, let me start taking some of these chats as you guys are filling them up. What's happening? YB Dollar, Navy Gang, what's up, Senor Reyes? Eric Villa says, let's go Knicks, as they are the class of the Eastern Conference, I think, at this point. I would be surprised if there's anyone that beats them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. The Mitchell Robinson factor. Static? This is crazy. It's the only. This should be better. It's the only. Okay, got it. This is as much as I complain about OBS and how I thought StreamYard would be better. It's just not. It does not like the Shure microphones anymore. And this is supposed to be the best microphone too. So you're just going to have to deal with me speaking through the computer speakers. Hopefully I come in loud and clear. All right. It's not the cold, man. I use this microphone all day on Sirius. It works perfectly through Zoom and Sirius XM. Loud and clear. But here on StreamYard, it just starts getting staticky now after a couple minutes of usage. So That is that. I'm just not going to use it anymore. Here, give me a second, people. What's up, Hellwick? Welcome in. What's up, Coach Mike? Same names as usual. Love to see it. I've been sitting in this broke ass chair for the last like a week and a half when I've been talking to you guys, and it's destroyed my back. So I'm going to try and find a way to. Okay, this is better. I'm comfy. I switched to a lawn chair. I'm sitting in a lawn chair. It's the only thing that makes my back feel good. Otherwise, I lay on the floor. And I'm about to have a 10-hour flight all the way down to Argentina. So I cannot afford to have a bad back. That much is clear. Thanksgiving was good. Just spent doing pretty much the same thing you all did. Sitting around, eating. Friends and family. What do we got tonight? Good question. Wait, before we get to that one, is there an argument to be made that Franz Wagner is the best Magic player not named Paolo? I was going to say he might even be better than Paolo at this point. Mouse isn't working. Why would anything work? Heaven forbid. The tech. Is it just me, or is yours tech shit not work too, people? Is it because I haven't updated my MacBook Pro in 4 years? Probably. But I'm not going to. Everything works. I am a don't fix it unless it's broken person. You will not get me to update my iPhone, iOS, my MacBook, my mouse. I will keep everything the same until it just completely stops working. But the in-between stage of it glitching and being all staticky is pretty fucking annoying too. God damn. And they break shit on purpose, by the way. They break shit on purpose because if it's broken, then you have to buy new equipment. They make you update your phone because they're slowly draining your battery so that you have to buy new iPhones and new droids and all that shit. They got caught. They got slapped on the wrist with a civil case and they paid a fine and they're just going to keep doing it. Anyway, sorry. These Q&As also serve as therapy for me to just go off on my boomer rants. But my boomer rants are justified. Question tonight was, what do we like? I am looking at this game down here between the Suns and Lakers. This one's going to get spicy, people. Dillon Brooks, LeBron back in the lineup. I don't mind Dillon Brooks unders. Let's see what they're listed at. He's been getting up a ton of shots lately. This right here, Dillon Brooks under 18.5 is probably what I'm targeting. Mainly because Grayson Allen expected back into the lineup, I think. And I anticipate some foul trouble for Dillon Brooks tonight, having to guard Luka and LeBron. If he gets into foul trouble, he's only going to play between 25 and 28 minutes. Yes, Franz Wagner, I'd probably say, is ascended to be the go-to guy in Orlando. And they're starting to look like the Magic team that they assembled this past offseason. The reason why they brought in Desmond Bane. I mean, the East is so wide open. If you're in the Eastern Conference, you should absolutely be making moves like Orlando did. The Knicks are the class of the East, and even they're beatable. Knicks, Detroit, the Cavs, Philly stinks, Milwaukee stinks. Atlanta's probably next up in regards to being in that top tier. All these teams stink. All those teams get swept in the finals by OKC. And how ridiculous is it, by the way? Oh, and Anthony Black too. Yeah. Shout out to the Magic fans in the chat. They've been playing the song often, the national anthem of Orlando. I was skeptical of the Anthony Black. Let's just pull that up real quick. What's that? Orlando's got to be laying some points tonight. 9-point favorites at home against the Bulls. Anthony Black. I was skeptical of his ability to be a two-way player, meaning the guy can obviously play defense. We see it when he rejects Duncan Robinson with the game on the line there against the Pistons, but can he shoot the three ball consistently enough on a team that is offensively challenged? The answer so far has mostly been yes, mostly. So he got some playing time last year. The Magic have been in these playoff series where they've been quite inferior to the talent that they've been up against in Boston and Cleveland. They took one of those to 7 games.
They've got 2 years of being there. The Magic are probably that team. I said the Hawks are next up. I'd say the Magic are probably the closest to being included with the Pistons, the Cavs, and the Knicks than Atlanta. Just because of guys like Anthony Black go out there and keep doing their thing. Trendsetter app says, if you could give Mitchell Robinson one additional skill, what would it be? Free throws. Do you all realize this man is shooting 18% from the free throw line? He is one of, if not the most influential player in the Eastern Conference. Not best, not most important, influential outside of stars. All right. What he does in the restricted area, how he protects that paint, his ability to offensive rebound. By the way, stop wasting your time pitching other players in the NBA who worthy of being in the offensive rebounding category. Unanimous Mitchell Robinson. It's not even a Knicks fan thing. He requires 3 bodies to keep him from getting offensive rebounds himself or creating second chance opportunities. He doesn't even get credit for half of the possessions that he keeps alive. Have you ever seen someone play between 16 and 20 minutes a night and be that influential? The game changes completely. When he's on the floor, it is just game over in the restricted area. The New York Knicks don't need to send additional assets to the glass to clear out a good defensive possession. They don't have to send anyone to the offensive glass because Mitch has it. He's getting so cocky on these offensive rebounds now. He's doing no-look passes back out to Mikal Bridges when OG Anunoby was playing and Jalen Brunson, and he just walks away from them like, yeah, I created that second chance op. I know that shit's going in. He walks away from threes he's not shooting like Steph Curry does, and he's earned it. Nobody can box him out. Nobody. You have to send 3. There's not a human on this planet, Victor Wembanyama included, that has the mass, verticality, wingspan, knowledge, and just drive to go get that basketball in the air or on the ground. And it always leads to Knicks step in rhythm threes off of the offensive rebound. He is the main reason this season why the Knicks are 13-6, because they've only had one real Jalen Brunson game thus far, like the plant the flag clutch player of the year. They just haven't needed it. And the majority of the reason is why the third quarter when Mitchell Robinson comes in, if you miss a shot, that possession is over. And then if the Knicks miss a shot, you have to pray that ball shanks away from the vicinity that Mitchell Robinson is in. Otherwise, he is making a mockery of grown men in a league that is positionless and everyone feels like they're 6'7" minimum. He makes them all look like peasants. You will not see anyone influence the game with offensive rebounding like this man in this generation. He is worthy of the conversation of Dennis Rodman and Ben Wallace. Mitchell Robinson in New York, the reason why you will see the Knicks in the conference finals. He was also the reason why you saw them in the conference finals last year. Thank you. My favorite topic, and don't even try this. I was watching the Knicks game yesterday. I put out a tweet about Mitchell Robinson. It gets flooded with Steven Adams people. Steven Adams plays twice the minutes probably that Mitchell Robinson does on average. All of his percentages and totals are going to be higher. Don't waste your time. You're just telling on yourselves. The best offensive rebounder in the world, unanimously, Steven Adams would probably admit it himself too, is Mitchell Robinson. It's not even close. Therapy I get paid for, even better. Yeah, I don't have to pay someone else. B-Ball Tank 35 just said, also just wanted to say, but you probably heard it many times, thank you for the Knicks recaps. I always look forward to after a Knicks win and a long day. Thank you, Rob. Hey, a compliment. I appreciate you. Yeah, those are just sessions. I'm spending all this damn time watching the games. And since Twitter is so fractured nowadays, I'm not going to be live tweeting Knicks games. Because of everyone who follows me, how many people actually care, right? I'm tweeting to an audience of between 2 and 3% most likely. So I'll just save those thoughts for a video and could put them concisely into, and now I've been doing this shit for how many years now, so it's just second nature. And if you're going to spend all that time watching the games and seeing how this team develops, I'm going to keep in those videos and in these Q&A sessions that I just do not care about the results of a regular season, because the process of the New York Knicks, considering the team that they have constructed, being the favorites in the East, As long as the process continues on the path that it is, that's all I ultimately care about, because the results are going to come and go. Coach Mike says Argentina will be nice. How is your Spanish coming? I want to travel to Spanish country once I improve a little bit more. Hablo español, más o menos. Yo comprendo español mejor que yo hablo español. I understand it much better than I speak it. I could listen to Telemundo and translate it to English, but subjugating the verbs, I sound like someone who's still learning Spanish because I'm just out of practice. So the answer to your question is I can understand it. I'm going to sound like an American trying to speak Spanish, but ironically enough, my Spanish gets so much better when I drink tequila. I get more and more fluent. It just comes to me more and more naturally. Yes, I'm the epitome of Dale Gringo, bien y tú. But I know enough to not get arrested, understand if someone is trying to kill me, right? All these things. Tengo un gato los pantalones. There. I'm like Blue Street Spanish. Watching Eliana, too, you get a lesson. Duncan Robinson out for the Pistons tonight. I saw Jalen Duren was in. Karis LeVert is a go. Oh, we're starting to get some news here. This Hawks game. Who's going to take all those threes? Not Ron Holland. Ivy? Karis 9.5? Is that a bet? Karis 9.5 without Duncan Robinson? So that's 11.5 projected points of usage going somewhere else. But he's a floor spacer. So is the floor spacer going to be Karis LeVert in his absence? Chat, any recommendations there? Because I will book Karis LeVert over 9.5 if we think it's worthy. Evo says better Spanish after a few drinks is a real thing. Like better darts after a few cold ones needs to be studied. Maybe that is a real thing. My Spanish is definitely better after I've had a couple tequilas. Is it that you feel more natural speaking on it? Like I know all the basics, like donde está, whatever. I know every day of the week, every number, how to ask for things. But it just sounds like you're not native, which is, as the chat said, gringo talk. Still no advice from the chat. Am I on my own here? Do we not think it's Karis LeVert who siphons away that usage? Luke Kennard looked banged up last night, by the way. So second leg of a back-to-back. This is a good spot to hit that under, I think. Luke Kennard was 0 for the field last night, hobbling around. I think he was sick too. 11.5. Now, this team's been scoring some points, but this is a tough spot. Road back-to-back against a team that just wants to eat your flesh. And they're coming off a double overtime game in Philly last night. Oh, can we talk about that, by the way, people? For those of you double dipping in WOB content today, we spent a little bit of time on the show discussing the final play of regulation in Philadelphia last night. It's got to be Karis, right? Yeah. Thank you, Danny. Wait, I'll answer questions in the chat before I get to this particular moment. Who wins a 3-on-3 loose ball competition? Josh Hart, Asor Thompson, and TJ McConnell versus J-Dub, Wemby, and Dyson Daniels. So you're talking about the ball hawks and the guy with the longest reach. I'm going to go with the scrappers. Josh Hart, Asor Thompson, and TJ McConnell win the 50-50 deflection ball. Josh Hart's been everywhere this past week and a half. Oh my God. Anytime that ball hits the floor, it's like he's paid on commission by the retrieval. Nose to the ground. You take for granted those loose balls when you have someone so good at getting them on your team. Josh Hart is that dude. What are we? Oh, Karras. No, we were questioning. We were questioning because Duncan Robinson's going to be out tonight for Detroit. Who's going to take those minutes for the Pistons, but specifically that role of floor spacing with the starters? And I thought it might be Karras. So I'm not looking for someone that's just going to eat all that play time. Like Jaden Ivey isn't really just a floor spacer. Tobias isn't a floor spacer. I was thinking about going with what's his face? Points over. Karis LeVert. Yeah. Okay. So last night. So the story from Philly. How many people are watching games on Sundays, by the way? I'm sure you sickos are, but like with NFL on, most people are caring about their fantasy team. They're get Sunday with their family. How many people watch NBA games on Sunday nights? Can't be that many. Well, anyway, in Philly, what happened at the end of this game? Dyson Daniels misses a layup at the end. At the end of regulation, because this went to double overtime. The end of regulation, Dyson Daniels misses a layup, and Philly has a timeout. And Nick Nurse is standing over there like screaming, signaling timeout, timeout, timeout. Not a single referee turns their head, as refs are trained to do in those situations, because they are being reminded by coaches and players, if we get the rebound, we're going to call timeout, right? It is so obvious that Coach Sam Mitchell, who was co-hosting the show with me today, said that you have to tell referees the opposite, that if you don't want to call a timeout, you need to notify them, because the anticipation is so assumed that your team's going to call timeout to advance the ball, that you have to tell them not to blow the whistles because they're getting ready and they want to make sure they don't mess this up. So Nick Nurse is calling the timeout. Not a single referee turns around. And Paul George decides to put the ball on the floor with 2 seconds left and launch a contested heave that has no chance of going in whatsoever. This was a total calamity at the end of regulation. So the screenshot where all 3 referees are not turning around to see what Nick Nurse is up to. Number 2, Paul George was just in a timeout because they were drawing up a defense to defend against the Atlanta Hawks' ATO. So the coaches, then I asked Sam Mitchell, because he was coach of the year back in the day, right? I go, Coach, is there ever an instance where in that particular spot with a game tied and less than 10 seconds left, if you're going out there on defense, that you are not reminding your players of the bonus situation, as well as if you have a timeout? And he goes, I've been in the NBA as a player and a coach for multiple decades, and not 99 out of 100, 100 out of 100 times that either the assistant coach, the associate coach, or the head coach will remind the 5 guys sitting on the bench exactly that scenario. It is malpractice if you don't. So with that said, I'm assuming Nick Nurse and Philadelphia's coaching staff reminded Paul George and everyone else, if you get the rebound, call timeout. Now, people make mistakes, and maybe it was just a brain fart. Maybe Paul George wasn't paying attention in the huddle. He puts the ball on the floor, and this is a man that is, if VJ Edgecombe does this, okay, it's a rookie in college. You don't do it because you don't get to advance the ball. It would just be like a lesson that he'll never make that mistake again. But it's Paul George, who's been around for multiple decades. And he makes this most egregious error that would have gotten the Philadelphia 76ers the ball in the front court with roughly 1.8 seconds left and a chance to win the game. There could have been a foul. There could have been away from the ball foul. So many different opportunities, which they just let go for free. And then Tyrese Maxey ends up missing 2 straight free throws. And was at the end of regulation. Jalen Johnson has his career high, ends up getting to the rim, goes to the free throw line himself. He makes the 2 free throws. And oh, by the way, I thought the 76ers were going to get a technical foul because their entire bench was wrapped around, the corner where they sit. They were coming out onto the floor with their towels Not like obviously distracting, but hey, right when he's winding up his free throw, pass me that towel so I can wipe my face. Just trying to create a little bit of a distraction. I thought the referees, if they just looked over there, would have teed them up for practically being on the floor. And so they missed that one too. A total calamity that resulted in Jalen Johnson fortifying him being the franchise player on this team. And that's where you segue the conversation next is what the hell are they going to do with Trae Young? He's out another couple of weeks, but this offense has completely changed. It is the number one team right now in assist ratio. That ball is not touching the floor. And we are not just running high pick and roll where Trae Young puts someone in his back pocket, goes to the giant killer floater or get to the free throw line with everyone else standing around waiting for him to defer. This ball doesn't touch the floor. It's popping like it's a live grenade. And Jalen Johnson hits a couple big shots on catch and shoot last night. He can obviously get to the rim. Considering the contract situation with Trae, something tells me that we're headed for a divorce at some point unless they come to terms, because you might be on your way out. We're not going to pay you a superstar rate. You can come back a little bit cheaper, but have you not seen how this guy is performing right here? That was an interesting result in Philly last night because in a weird way, by the calamity that occurred at the end of regulation, has now stamped Jalen Johnson even more than he already was, because then he got the opportunity to make those free throws. He hit all those threes in double overtime and getting to the rim, and you're like, wow, this might be one of the best players in the Eastern Conference that's actually playing. It's just weird how opportunity creates itself, right? Tonight's going to be a struggle, though, so this is a schedule loss for them. They are catching, I should say, Hawks Pistons catching 9.5 in Detroit tonight against the mighty Pistons. This is danger zone, second leg, road back-to-back against a really good team back home. So if Atlanta wants to impress us, go out there and win this game tonight. But there's a reason why it's 9.5. They've been playing good hoop, and they're certainly fun to watch as well. Oh, one last thing. This is, of course, the tweet that gets picked up by the algorithm, so everyone's got an opinion on it. One thing I despise is gassing everything that is either incorrect, out of context, or unnecessary. So last night, on a fast break in like the second quarter, Nickeil Alexander-Walker is on a 2-on-1. Jared McCain runs in front of him to try and steal the ball. And Alexander Walker has a nice pass behind his back. And he goes like this because McCain's cutting right in front of him. And he drops the dime. And someone takes a picture of it. And he goes like this. And everyone's like, that's the Wade LeBron pick because Jalen Johnson's in the background cocking it back. And okay, the still photo might be similar. The circumstances are not even close to being the same. You cannot be like, that's our version of Wade to LeBron. I'm like, you're just getting out of the fucking way. Why do we have to make, this is why when you say poster dunk or ankle breaker crossover, it's not even close to those. You're saturating content and diluting its potency so that now when an actual poster happens, no one cares anymore. Why does everything have to be the greatest of all time? The greatest thing I've ever seen. Unless it's actually that, unanimously. Why does everything fall into hyperbole with social media culture in 2025? It has to be the worst thing that's ever happened or the greatest thing that's ever happened. Otherwise, it's not worth consuming. He was simply getting out of the way. Thank you for listening. And Shaden says, NBA on big screen, red zone on the side. Yeah, a simple solution. Like for me right now, well, I can't show you because I'm using the computer. For me, I've got 2 quad boxes on the laptops, tablets, 2 tablets, so I can handle like 10 games at once. And I turn the volume on the tablets plus one of the computers. And then I have a side screen over here for like football and shit that I just check in on. So that's like what my command center looks like. I use this for the Texas A&M game on when they're all sports on Friday. But yeah, it's actually possible to be able to watch 10 things at once. People don't comprehend that. Danis Jenkins getting the start? Oh, there you go. Danis Jenkins back in the lineup. He's going to be that Duncan Robinson floor spacer then. But I do anticipate a little bit of a bump for Karras. Maybe not worth anything than a standard bet, but 9.5 feels a little light. Did Wob do any Lane Kiffin talk yet? Would you like me to do Lane Kiffin talk? I don't know if I have any opinions that fall outside of what you've already heard, but I am very pro not letting him coach the team. And the analogy here is if your wife told you, I'm leaving you, and I'm leaving you for the guy at the end of the street on the corner. So in nearby, I've been having an affair with him. I'm leaving you at the end of the week. But we have a vacation booked all the way through Sunday. Are we still going on the vacation together? Hell no. I'm going on the vacation. You're staying at home. I'm not letting you come on vacation with me and ruin this shit. Especially when you're going to a rival right down there. Hell no. Even the players were like, man, this is a distraction. Get him out of here. We have our position coaches that we actually report to because that's how football works. You have your coaches, then obviously the head coach oversees them all. As long as some of them are still here, we're good. But yeah, it's also a business. So the players can bounce around. They have contracts with NIL. Players, coaches are going to bounce around too. This is why college sports kind of sucks, but I love watching the actual product on the field. This is mostly why college basketball sucks. College football, you can't just run away to the NFL after 3 weeks of playing like you can with college basketball. Those teams with those blue bloods with 4-year seniors that build reputations and legacies. If you're that good, you're just gone to the NBA like immediately. So it's just always a different name. Rivalries, all that matters is a couple weeks in March. And college basketball is just, to me, is lost everything that made it different than the NBA, and it's turning into it right now with players who are not nearly as good. But March Madness can still be fun, especially if your alma mater's in it. Dylan's asking, what's the game of the night? Probably Suns Lakers, chat. Let's see. Cavs Pacers, no. What's up with the Cavs, by the way? They got to get healthy. Hawks Pistons is close to the game of the night. But since the Hawks are on the second leg of a road back-to-back, I will say no. Bucks Wizards, give me a break. Bulls Magic, no. Bulls suck. Clippers Heat. The Clippers are going to be responsible for letting Palpatine rule the world with their draft pick going to Oklahoma City. Charlotte Brooklyn is the most sicko game I've ever seen. Rockets Jazz, no. And we just did this yesterday. Mavericks Nuggets, actually. It's 11.5-point dogs, but I would assume Davis is playing. 11.5 with Davis playing. He sat out the last game. Suns Lakers. Dylan, the villain. LeBron, Luka. Overachieving Suns team that is scrappy as hell. Plays fun basketball. That's your game of the night. Peacock, 7 p.m. local. Lakers laying 5. Coach Mike says, is this a safe space? Hold on. Is this a safe space that I can admit I haven't watched the Hawks since Trae got hurt? That's interesting, actually, because Trae Young does have a pretty significant fan base. The Hawks are one of the most poorly attended teams in the league. And since Trae's been out, their attendance sucks, but the team might be better. They are flying high, but it doesn't have that individual brand name that you associate that franchise with. I wonder how just mainstream hoops fans are like, I'm not going to care until Trae comes back. Man, you need to start paying attention. Evo says it's Gen Z while behind the accounts in the majority of the engagement. Oh, you're talking about, well, yeah. Well, because they're trying to monetize their channels, which I'm not going to complain about. Otherwise, I'd be a hypocrite. But the type of content of which they produce is different than what I would be doing. Put it that way. Everything is the greatest or the worst thing of all time. Short form content is deteriorating, I think, to people's education and comprehension. That's their problems, not mine. What else you got? Logan says, it's so funny. The memory loss caused by fandom. This is who Lane Kiffin has been for 20 plus years, and everyone, including me, still acts shocked. Yeah. How quickly we forgot what happened in Tennessee, 10 years ago? More than 10 years ago. Or was it just about 10 years ago? Denver does play today, Danny. Am I not mistaken? They're hosting the Mavericks right here. Dallas, Denver, 6 p.m. Yeah, Denver plays. But yeah, you're right. They're down a couple of guys, and they just are throwing out the roster that took OKC to 7 games last year. Like, what a luxury it is for Denver now. This is by far the best team Nikola Jokic has had. It's the best season of Nikola Jokic. And every time he goes out there and drops just one of those ludicrous triple doubles of 44, 20, and 12, it's always some. We should do scoreagami with Jokic's triple doubles, like Jokic Gami. He got a brand new triple double number. So Jokic goes out there every night. I watch him. I'm like, how does anyone besides this guy win MVP? And every time I think like that, Shea does what he did last night in Portland. If you missed that game in Portland last night, so Shea is just kind of chilling. The Blazers are lurking. They're the only team to have beaten OKC yet this year. And because of that one win, OKC would be the number one story in sports if they were 21-0, right? The streak to start the season. The Warriors' mark is in jeopardy. It doesn't even make the A block of most mainstream sports shows because they won the championship. It just assumed how good they are. 20-1, guys. So last night, Trailblazers are hanging around. Denny Avdia is having a big game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, as soon as that game hits the clutch, scores 10 points and throws one laser assist to Chet Holmgren through like 3 dudes. And every time down the floor, I'm going to repeat this tweet that I said. It felt like I was watching the basketball equivalent of an A-list comedian go to a dive bar to try out new material at an open mic night. I don't know if you've ever been to a dive bar with an open mic night, but sometimes people go up there and just start talking and they're trying out material just to see if anyone reacts to it, but there's no expectation of reciprocation. You got a bunch of backs facing you, drunk sitting at the bar. But the open mic night, you might get someone who like wants to hear your jokes and just giggles along while they're scrolling their phones. It's the beauty of open mic night. And he was just out there trying new material in a clutch game against the Portland Trailblazers. Comes down the floor. He does some shit with his left hand where he goes like through the legs, crab dribble, step back, splash. Then the next time down the floor, he does like pump fake, pivot foot, up and under. Gives you something different every time down the floor. It's a fish concert. Every set is different. And it was just bucket after bucket after bucket all game long. He's so good. And the point of telling that story is like every time I think it's got to be Jokic. He's obviously the best player in the world. He needs the MVP. He's putting up the numbers. Denver's a great team, all the above. But if the Oklahoma City Thunder break Golden State's record, 74 wins in a season, Shea right now has played 9 clutch games. 9. He has scored 14 more points in the clutch than second place. And the guy in second place, Tyrese Maxey's played in 5 more games, including a double overtime game last night. He still has 14 points more than Tyrese Maxey in the clutch. And Shea plays in only a couple per month. He is ridiculous. Everything goes through the hoop. Everything. I don't know. He's just so good. And the whole, like, he's just a free throw merchant and goes to the line. When was the last? He shot like 2 free throws in the fourth quarter last night. All he was doing was giving dudes buckets. And then he starts laughing and doing his little dances and waving to the crowd goodbye. No one stands a chance unless your name is Denver. Houston will give them, if they end up going head to head, can give them a little bit of a fight, but it's just the only team preventing OKC's dynasty is Denver. That's it. This is not an NBA of parity. The Eastern Conference might as well be the minor leagues. This is 2 teams this year, and that's it. Now, if Minnesota or Houston finds a way to get James Harden before the deadline, I'm willing to reevaluate this. But the Lakers, the Rockets, and the Timberwolves, those fringe teams in the West, trying to, like, are we worthy of Denver and OKC? Not just yet, but it's those 2 teams and then everyone else. What's up, Vegan Barbie? Happy birthday, by the way. My NFL team is the Indianapolis Colts. Jim Harbaugh, captain comeback, 1995 AFC Championship game. Threw a Hail Mary to, is it Jerome Pathon in the back of the end zone? This was before instant replay. They ruled it incomplete. And from that moment on, I was a Colts fan. Peyton Manning became my hero. The one guy who I will never work with or work for while creating content. Peyton Manning is such my childhood hero that I would rather sacrifice a potential paycheck just to continue wanting to be like a super fan and idol. I don't want him to be my boss and then he comes off to me somewhat differently. You know what I mean? I just want to always perceive him as a hero. Do I think there's a path to a Bucks playoff appearance? Yeah, the Eastern Conference is terrible. So you're going through the play-in tournament, but the Bucks are bad. They stink. Once you get past Knicks, Pistons, Cavs, Hawks, Magic. So that's 5. Then you got the Heat, 6, Philly, 7. That 8, 9, 10 area. If I'm missing anybody, Toronto. Okay, so that's 8. Yeah, there's like kind of 8 teams in the East. So that leaves 9 and 10 for all those other hopefuls. I haven't started Pluribus yet, but I will. I'm just wrapping up some other shows. I did watch the PBS Frontline of 2,000 Meters to Avrika. It's done by the same director who was the Oscar winner for 20 Days in Mariupol, war documentary between Ukraine and Russia. And it is, you'll get an education. What else we got here? Let's see. Hold on. Felipe in the chat is saying Jalen Johnson is maybe on Franz Wagner's level of playmaking. That sounds a little insulting, like a backhanded compliment. Jalen Johnson is, okay, Cade Cunningham, Brunson, Donovan. If you did an MVP for just the Eastern Conference, Jalen Johnson could potentially be on the podium in 3rd place, potentially. SGA is on a 2003 Tim Duncan kind of run right now. How do people have opinions on Shea that didn't watch last night's game and think other than this is by far the best player on the court, throwing all sorts of defenders? I know Drew's not there. I think Tumani was there, but like Portland has the recipe on how to beat these guys. And Shea just made a mockery of them in the final 5 minutes when that game was close. Every time down the floor, he creates, he gets just enough space, and he makes some tough shot. And he just skips his way up the court. You just don't stand a chance against him. Question in the chat. What's your favorite archetype of NBA player to watch? I like the positionless swingmen. And it's slowly evolving into point centers. Well, whatever Victor Wembanyama is, but he's an anomaly. Mostly, I like swingmen that are interchangeable parts on defense. They can catch and shoot. don't need the ball in their hands all the time, still make an impact. Coach Mike says, I met Tim Tebow when he played minor league baseball. Hated him growing up as a Georgia fan, and now I hate that I like him because he's a really nice guy. I'm the same way with JJ Redick, one of the most hated Dukies ever. And then I had to meet him because my boss at the time, when I was doing the show from New York, JJ was using our studio when JJ was working at the Ringer well before he did his current podcast and obviously became coach of the Lakers. But JJ was always around, and then I got introduced to him. I'm like, ugh, I gotta like this guy. And he is, from my experiences with him, he's been a normal dude, but I wanted to hate him. I despise everything about Duke, and he's the face of Duke other than Coach K. Never going to admit that to him publicly. Helwick says the problem with hosting NBA Cup games around Thanksgiving is hearing your family members complain about the court the whole time. My dad wouldn't even watch the game. He wouldn't even sit here and watch because the Knicks were playing on a blue court. What? No. That's how it went. No. I'm not even going to argue with you. Goodbye. Yeah, those courts are made for kids. They have completely destroyed any sort of jersey brand equity because they just trot them out in city uniforms or the Hornets are like orange and blue or something now. That's dead. So for anyone that's millennial, Gen X, boomers that watch the NBA, traditionally teams wore white at home, the classic uniforms. Maybe you had one alternate. Those days are just gone. And this is why the older generation doesn't want to associate with this product anymore. It's as simple as that. You keep wearing white jerseys on the road. If you're a road team, you're going to lose viewers like my dad and Lord knows how many other people out there. Helwick's family members that don't want to watch because of the courts, let alone the jerseys. It's just, you've completely voluntarily destroyed your own brand when it comes to merchandising and fashion aesthetics. You're partial to Peyton Manning because he says Omaha all the time. That's funny. Omaha to LA. That's quite the journey. Vegan Barbie. Most of the games are early tonight, I think, right? How many of these early tips do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock Pacific games. And then 1, 2, 3, 4:30 games. So 6. Most of these are pretty garbage, but it's crazy about this team right here, the Clippers. You go look at the Kawhi and Harden have been balling the last 2 games, and it still results in losses anyway. Like, they are just so doomed. They are so thin. They're having to play Kobe Sanders and Kobe. There's another Kobe out there too. I forgot his name. And James Harden was making some comments the other night about, like, it's tough to incorporate these guys who are not used to running with vets and the chemistry. It was his way of saying, I'm putting words in his mouth, so don't quote me on this, but it was his way of saying, like, playing with these young kids, it's going to be tough to win. Okay. They may have a future in the league one day, but we're not going to win games like this. Luca Glaze. I'll pass on that. AB Karzai, sorry if I butchered your name, in the chat is asking, what was your first NBA moment that you vividly remember? I would say vividly, I can remember the image of the Bad Boys beating the Magic Johnson's Lakers. I was really young, but I just remember that being on the TV screen. And I would say one that I was in person for 93 playoffs, Knicks, Bulls. Which was that the Jordan dunk? I think that was the Jordan dunk. That series was my first real introduction to basketball. And from that point forward, I was just religious. That series is what definitely got me into it. 93 Knicks Bulls. Ryland says they got Mad Men on HBO Max. I've been watching Mad Men on, they've been doing AMC like marathons of it because they have no other content. That network went from Mad Men, Breaking Bad, and the Walking Dead franchises and all their spinoffs to just reruns. Because whoever they're owned by has, like everyone else, has completely cut funding of original content. Unless you're Apple TV, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Hulu. There's only so many studios that are still making content now. What's my favorite Clyde Frazier line? Oh, expression. Styling and profiling. Spinning and winning. Percolating is my favorite term that he uses. Percolating. Oh, he likes the neophyte. But I would go with styling and profiling. Steve asked if Wemby didn't play a single game, you think the Spurs are still a top 8 team in the West? Top 8? It would be that 8th spot, wouldn't it? So it's OKC, Denver, Houston, Lakers, Minnesota. That's 5. Who else am I missing here? Not Dallas. Phoenix. Not Sacramento, not Utah. There's a lot of terrible teams, man. Who am I missing? Who's that like mid-tier in the West? Is it Phoenix? I'm missing somebody. Memphis, they stink. Wow. Yeah. Clippers stink. Oh, Golden State. Okay. Golden State. So 7. Yeah. San Antonio would still be top 8. It would be between like San Antonio and Phoenix. That's crazy. I forgot about Golden State like that. Kind of speaks to their existence right now without Steph. Yeah, Golden State. They're like 6 or 7. I can hear Skip. Do you guys want Skip to close out this video? He's trying to bust down the door right now. Skippy. Let me see if he's on the other side of the door, and we'll sign off by saying goodbye to hello to Skip. Yeah. Come on, Doodles. Come on, Doodles. Come over here. All right, chat. Say goodbye. This is going to be the last time that you see Skip for a little bit as I'm headed to... Come here. Sit down. Sit. He's been very needy. Very needy. Oh, we got a police chase too coming up. Skip, sit. Come here. Sit. Sit down. Oh, sit. 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 So Skip has been very, like, attached. Which is unfortunate because he's going to have to learn how to survive without me. All of our walks. But you're a good boy. Yes, you are. He's such a good boy. Look at this little fur missile. Anyway, he's been getting ran into the ground, which he loves very much. He doesn't let me sit without sleeping on my feet. As you can tell, I'll get out of the way, okay? As you can tell, he likes his attention. That was such a good spin and roll. Good job. I can't wait to wrestle you. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for today's stream. Come on, say hello. Come here. Come on. Come here. Come here. Skip, come. Come here. Sit. Sit. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're such a good boy. Give me a kiss. Oh, you're so sweet. You're so sweet. See, it's going to be tough to say goodbye. But he's doing well. He's coming up on 5 years for those of you in the chat, believe it or not. 5 years since we saw little Skippy. He kept popping up on the stream back in the COVID streams, back in the day. Yes. 5 years. You're almost 5 years old. He's healthy. He likes his walks. He eats well. Oh, you're so good. But yes, I'm thinking about doing Wednesday's show from SiriusXM Studio because I'm going to be down in Manhattan in the morning. Do the show from the headquarters, and then I'll fire up this stream shortly thereafter because then I head to JFK for my overnight flight to Argentina. So to keep the Monday, Wednesday, Friday scheduling going, I'll do it again on Wednesday, but it might be a little earlier. So 4 p.m. as opposed to 6:15 p.m. if that's okay with everyone still in here. Hopefully it is. So that'll be Wednesday's show. Let's go make some money tonight. Good luck to your teams. About to tip off in some of these games. Appreciate the safe flight, Helwig, and I will see you all on Wednesday. Deuces. Oh, here we go again with the fucking mouse. Work. Oh, old man knees. Who's a good boy? You're such a good boy. You're such a good boy.